everybody. Welcome to All Our Pieces. I'm doing the show on my own today. Cathie is going to be with us in June. So for May, I thought of going back in time a bit. And you can come with me and think about your own past. If you could go back into time when you were maybe a teenager in your 20s, or maybe you still are, and then going forward a couple of decades or so, and you could discover, who were you then? Who are you now? What do you have in common? How much have you learned? I think that's probably why I write. I want to capture what I'm feeling at the moment. And so I have things that go back quite a ways. And in fact, I'm going to start with my poem, There Lies a Land, which actually got published in I think it was a newspaper in the Hartford Times when I lived in Hartford, Connecticut. And so I'm going to take you through some of those first things, first love, first experiences, first ideas about life and death and nature. And so that's what I'm going to do today, and I hope you like it. And we'll end with some present things like a Mother's Day poem and some other things. Okay, here we go. In fact, notice that I'm wearing something that is kind of a little hippie-ish. You can't tell anymore because our fads have kind of smushed together, but 1966, this is when I wrote this poem. There lies a land. Above the cities and mountains high, there lies a land with a pleading cry. It has no wars, every man is just. Men love each other and they do what they must. But few are the hearts that will ever know the fight for peace ended long ago. Man stands alone. He has no brother. He lives with his own kind and believes in no other. If man would look, he would surely see the land's not as far as he makes it be. The land of brotherhood, love, and peace. The land where fighting has come to cease. Though this land cannot be seen or heard, it lives in the mind, for it has no word. In the wind it drifts as a heavenly prayer. Only the righteous will know it's there. 1966. I was 13. Okay. I always loved nature. I lived in the suburbs of Hartford and the city, so being around nature was very special. Good. Tea break, getting over the flu. This one's called Daisy, 1968. Oh, lovely Daisy, morning's wetness upon the touch of my hand, lying delicately in the dew of the meadow, yellow face, green stem in a proud, strong stand. The clovers crowd beneath you, the grass grows overhead, yet you shine radiantly among them, and at sunset you blush in red. Diamond dewdrops on your cheeks are like tears, but in a smile, and the wisdom of your strength is hidden in sweet guile. How many other souls have come across your face to feel rebirth in your modest beauty or feel the presence of your grace? Who else has trod in this sacred place? Must I leave without your secret of how you stand so tall, leaving me only the assurance of your being and feeling still quite small? Here's another one about nature. I would say this one is kind of after a little experience with camping. Just enough. This is 1969. One need not spend too many hours in the woods, just enough to feel the awe, the mystery, the infinite power of nature's arms, cradling her leaves beneath a fireball sun. Just enough to make your bare feet damp from the cool, dark earth. Just enough to notice the wild purple violets or to smell the wild chives of summer. One need not spend too many hours in the woods. The apple blossom's fragrance may overwhelm your senses, sweeten your nose, tingle your heart with excitement, but linger too long and the perfume becomes heavy. Linger too long and the poison ivy plants suddenly appear. Gnats will buzz in your ears. Your nose begins to itch. The hungry mosquitoes attack. The sun sinks in warning. Linger too long, nature will offend you. The palace gates are closing. What business do humans have overstaying their visit? Here I am living in Stowe and I hear bobcats at night. Okay, now I have no idea why I wrote this next one. I must have seen something on television or maybe something in a poem in school, I don't know, but it's called Epitaph. Now why would I be thinking that in 1968? Of course, there were some assassinations that had begun then, no? All right. Warm soil embraces my body. Roots of trees lace around me fast. I am tied to the depths of nature, but my soul is free at last. Do not mourn for me. Repose lies on my breast, and having sent some smiles across some lonely faces, my heart's content to rest. Do not mourn for me. No seasons to me were lost, though I failed in some endeavors, though my faith was ripped and tossed. Do not mourn for me. I've not gone from your sight. In freedom's face, you'll see me still in the muscles of her might. Do not mourn for me. Tyrants' fingers can never reach me here to crush my ideals and projects, nor instill my days with fear. Do not mourn for me. Warm soil embraces my body. Roots of trees lace around me fast. I am tied to the depths of nature, but my soul is free at last. So I guess I've always been a soul seeker and question everything. Everything. After all, I am an Aquarian. Why not? So 1969, I'm thinking about my parents who are having a very tough time with each other. I had my first boyfriend and I noticed that love doesn't look anything like what my parents are experiencing. So I wrote this poem. What's it like at 50? I wonder what it's like up there at 50. Do you ever think of adventure? Do you call Dad your lover? Is there any magic that people exchange in friendly cafes or whisper to each other under the stars of a summer night? I wonder what it's like up there at 50. To have so much of life behind you and yet so much still ahead. With a patchwork of experience and a burden of memories, does ambition grow? Does trust spread? Or has it all dried and wilted like a plant with no water and too much sun? What does life look like at 50? Is it calm and usual, like Walter Cronkite in the 6 o'clock news? Does life still bend and turn and surprise you like the punch of rhythm and blues? Mom, what's it like up there at 50? I wonder if you will say. Maybe you don't even know. Okay, so I remember listening to This is the Dawning of Aquarius, The Fifth Dimension, and I wrote a poem looking back at how I was in 1968, my Aquarian Dance. Dancing wildly through my parents' house, this is the dawning of the Age of Aquarius. The fifth dimension sang from the stereo player. My voice joins in Arms flying, body bouncing, heart pounding. Jazz moves around the perfectly tidy living room, rebellious and naughty while parents are not there. Glory to me and my generation. All the pain of our family now being liberated. I want to forget my mother hitting my face with her high-heeled shoes. I want to forget my tears and confusion. Soon I will leave here. There's a sunshine, there's a sunshine. Woo! Let it shine. Let the sun shine right on in. No one is home but me. A bird let out of her cage. Blast that record. Rage and rant. Open up your heart. Let the sun shine in. I'm dancing to save my soul. I'm dancing to defy the endless sorrows of the Holocaust. Dancing to rise up, protest for my oppressed black friends. Dancing to throw off my mother's tyranny, imagining possibilities for my new life outside of Vernon. My boyfriend worries about the draft. I'm the leader of my high school, protesting racism. Martin Luther King's my hero. I'm publishing Libertas in the all-white school. I'm not alone. I'm an activist, idealist, socialist, Jewish young woman. I don't know what pot is, but I am high in hope. Rock and roll, and my new boyfriend. Here's one gal that's gonna shine. And boyfriends. Summer of 1968, before I left home. It's called Good Night Motorcycle Ride, and this is not a poem, actually, it's a prose. We swirled into my parents' driveway at midnight. The headlights of your motorcycle flashed on the dark windows of the house. I wondered if my parents were lying awake, waiting for me. Oh, I hope they were asleep. It was later, much later, than I had promised to be home. If they opened an eye to the streak of light across their bedroom wall, I would be sorry for it in the morning. I held on to you tighter and inhaled one more breath of oil, leather, kisses. The roaring motor sighed, exhausted as you clicked the engine off. All the rushing air suddenly melted away into a warm and silent summer night. My cheek was sticky from clinging to your leather jacket. The ache of good night crept upon us like an unwelcome stranger. My parents' house was black except for one porch light. I was grateful they left it on, for if it was all black, I would have felt even more guilt and fear. I would have read their message as, "You are late. You have abandoned your family for your first boyfriend. The door is locked and you are now alone." But I had no proof of that. I studied the house, and then I studied you. You swept the brown, uneven strands of hair from your forehead with your grease-stained hands. The face of your watch gleamed in the light of the house. I was safe, for now. We held each other's waist and thought of the memories we had just created, a funny waiter at a pizza parlor, pine trees lining a gold-tinged lake, swimming after the sun had gone down, running from a frog you captured, swatting mosquitoes and drinking a warm Coke, and the hour ride home on the motorcycle. We kissed and swooned as if drunk on each other's taste. You were trying hard to be responsible and leave me to my parents' care. I clung to you like a life jacket. Soon the yellow light of the house no longer tinted your face. You had mounted the motorcycle, and the shadowy road devoured your image. Straining not to make noise, I unlocked the door, and it creaked as it opened. I tiptoed to my bedroom, hoping no one would call to me. Did I sense my mother's thoughts, listening to my every move? Was she trying to control herself and not scold me? Was she asleep? I did not want to think of anyone but you, my lover. Inside my bedroom, I pressed my nose against the window screen, projecting my mind to follow you, unwilling to leave your company, ignoring someone from the master bedroom calling, "Judy, go to sleep." The motor ripped into the stillness, winding up through the gears, climbing the first hill, down the second, turning left, then right. Then the roar dimmed to nothing as you rode down Route 30. I leaned forward, straining to feel the magic, but there was nothing left outside. The night was over, and the time of waiting had begun. Those first relationships, the insecurities. Ooh. Life's pleasure song. Getting excited about being young and beautiful. I am a sorceress, holding out my arms, drawing you to me. Enter, my love, of sensuality, and dream of soft flesh, sincere eyes, and hour-long caressing. For I am life undressing before the fall of night. Loverly. Try not to get too graphic here. I'm not really. Loverly, 1970. Sharing the night under the covers, inhaling the scent of linen, the soft fragrance of your hair. One hand smooths your hairy chest, one hand holds your face near mine. In the window's light of a silver street lamp, your eyes closed in peaceful joy, your lips frame a faint smile, and manly shoulders, yet silk to touch, in love's sweet flesh glow of tender warmth. I always like the rhythm of that poem. A lot of times I have kind of a song, a rhythm, before I have the words, and then it kind of comes into, it just all comes together somehow. Those are the good ones. Every morning, God's loveliest light glows white on your face, your soft flesh, your brown chest. Every morning, a misty veil bows to kiss your eyes. Day breaks with love, truth arrives. Every morning, the world begins, newly created, love and life undying, undated. Well, now we're gonna go a little bit more into our future, our present looking back. And I had some notes, and then I made this into a poem. It's called Music of the Relatives. Music of the Relatives. I smell our baby grand piano in the living room. Musty, dark mahogany gleaming from lemon polish. The Duels are here from New Jersey. They hold cold drinks in sweating glasses, clinking ice cubes, crossed legs, and summer dresses. Cousin Iris plays Liszt. Then my sister performs the Moonlight Sonata. A hammock waits in the hot backyard for us children to play on after lunch. The Duels come from another universe. Our ranch house is small, but my mother's skills transformed a box into a miniature palace. Our Viennese background is easily evident in the food, the plum cake, the cinnamon coffee, the funny accents. My parents' escape route from Hitler was New York and then Hartford. My aunt and uncle took a rotting boat to Palestine and finally affluent New Jersey. My cousin's upbringing was puzzling and different. The twins indulged in loud boasting, whining, and teasing. I bit my fingernails and waited for commands like a servant. They wore the latest fashions and were pencil thin. I felt ugly, out of place, clumsy. They had every material need met, while I was trained not to have any need at all. Well, I was too fascinated to be jealous. Aunt Susie's voice, pitched high and low, comforting her girls, telling stories or giving advice. Uncle Willie's heavy black eyebrows met forehead wrinkles. considering the weight of a pawn on the tiny Italian table with the Italian chess set. Musical interludes pass in between their thoughts. A Sunday summer's afternoon stretches out, lazy as our beagle, whose brown eyes dart from person to person. This scene wasn't often. I could count the times on one hand for my entire childhood. Yet every moment echoes still, each note building a symphony we call family. Now most of the elders have passed away, and my cousins and I are the new elders. There are grandchildren, nieces, nephews, and partners I've never even met. No more get-togethers. Everyone is scattered and busy. Only selfie glimpses on Facebook. I treasure the faded black and white photographs with poor resolution and curly borders. The mix of emotions rings on in memory, gives a baseline to my theme of me. My dear mother, Aunt Susie, Uncle Willie, their stories and laughter is now frozen in an imaginary score, troubled with timelessness. God and man's amazing creation of each individual, lovingly stamped in the signature. I always marvel at just who we are. Incredible, unique individuals, who we are. So thinking about the past and the present and the future and being in the moment and spring, the lilacs are still kind of out. They're fading a little bit. Anyway, here's a poem about love and lilacs. Lilacs in bloom in every backyard, lavender and white cone arabesques, happily dancing over emerald lawns, groomed to perfection, gracing each house, lacing the air with their sweet perfume, stately, sturdy, as if they had been there forever. Then, gasping for breath, I understood their brief purpose and of ours. There. I like to read my poems because they have to be read really exactly a certain way, and that certain way is just the way that I heard it when I wrote them down for the first time. That particular emotion and song and rhythm. It's not easy to read them, I must say. Okay, so every May I wrote a poem about Mother's Day and gave it to my mother. And I was doing a lot of meditating, thinking about Divine Mother when I wrote this one. It's called Why Mother's Day Comes in May. It's no coincidence that Mother's Day comes in the spring, when pink buds of apple blossoms spark a dark and rainy day in May, when the promise of greening fields speak of hidden babes born to raccoons, foxes, and bears, when the weight and burdens of winter give way to birth and renewal, hope and joy. It's no coincidence Mother's Day comes in spring, for whose is that rainbow? Whose is the miracle of growth? Whose smile lights the sky? None but Mother Nature, or Divine Mother herself. None but the Queen of Goddesses, all feminine energies, swirling together to prod her children to remember her and awake. It could have been in the fall, when harvest time comes to repay the efforts of work. The handiwork of cunning designs abound, dried flowers nodding to approaching winter, remembering the shadowy divine Kali, constructive and destructive, remembering your own mortal mother's gifts as complex, beautiful, frightening. It could have come in winter, the crafting of snowflakes, draping the earth in wonder, blowing apart your dreams with her heavy winds, pelting our faces to wash us clean. Mother's Day could have buried us in a storm of understanding. Well, what about the height of summer? All nature's gifts blooming with proof of her ingenuity, her love, her generosity, springing forth at the feet of unbelievers. No, but no, it comes in May. She comes in May. The reminder of things, the reminder of beginnings, your beginnings. You can see her presence in your mother's words, in every sacrifice, admonishment, and loving praise. The one who knows you as no one else can. The mother whose love may be evident or hidden, but in your heart, you know. Now, as the landscape shakes off hibernation, you emerge, eyes wide open, a bouquet of flowers in your hands. Sweet gratitude burning like sunshine for your mother and the mother behind her loving eyes. So that's all I got for you today. I just made it to the end with this cold here. And I thank you so much for tuning in, and tell all your friends and share on Facebook. And thank you so much, ActonTV, for shooting the show. We'll be back in June for all the, it's going to be a variety of things, everything from nursing to nature and, oh, God knows what. We don't even know yet. But we'll be bringing wonderful things to you in June.